All right, hey, what's up, everybody? Mike Lindsley back with you. 9 minutes with me all over IGTV, Facebook, and on YouTube. Make sure you hit me on Twitter at Mike L Sports, and of course on Instagram, Mike L Sports 1979. The video here is brought to you by Bryant and Stratton College, Empower Federal Credit Union, Hides of Liverpool, and our great friends at Welch & Company Jewelers. Log on to welchjewelers.com today. Shop the showcase, engagement rings, wedding rings, bracelets, necklaces, you name it. You can shop the showcase at welchjewelers.com. Let's recap quickly. Super Bowl 54 from Miami. It was an epic, incredible game, as I thought it would be going into the game. I thought some of the storylines would have been, the run defense of the Kansas City Chiefs against the 49ers, running game led by Raheem Mostert. You've got Patrick Mahomes, the quarterback of the Chiefs, up against the defensive line of the 49ers. And then how would the San Francisco secondary handle the speed of the Kansas City Chiefs with Sammy Watkins and company, and for screenplays with Mahomes throwing on the run and all the rest. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, one of the faster, better tight ends in space in the National Football League. Let's get to it. When this game was 10-10, I was just waiting and chomping at the bit for this thing to get into the second half to see how this thing was going to play out, because it had the makings early of a classic Super Bowl in terms of the history of this great game. Now, San Francisco gets to 20-10 because they're able to operate at the line of scrimmage. They get a couple of chunk plays, and they're running play action with Jimmy Garoppolo. And I thought for 3 quarters, this game was played perfectly by San Francisco. They had Kansas City right where they wanted them in terms of a ball possession game, play action, using the defense. Nick Bosa and the defense, they were rattling Patrick Mahomes, the big sack by DeForest Buckner. I thought that was exactly what San Francisco wanted to do. And frankly, at halftime, if you thought about it, Kansas City had some missed opportunities at the end of the second quarter. They were not able to capitalize on a turnover and a few other things as well. San Francisco probably pretty lucky to go into the half with the tie score, but then they go up 20-10. This game then starts to kind of find a little bit of a rhythm from the Kansas City side. The biggest turning point in the game for me was when Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid finally took the big boy pants and put them on and took off the diapers from an offensive play calling standpoint. I didn't think Kansas City was anywhere near aggressive in this game for the first 2.5 quarters, maybe even more. And then Kansas City had the big drive in the second half to make it 20-17 San Francisco. And I know that it was culminated and ended in the fact of, possible foot on the line and all that. I thought he was out for sure, Williams. And, there were a lot of people on Twitter and elsewhere saying, no way, you can't turn it over with the evidence and all the rest. But the two things with that play that stood out to me, it was very, very simple. Fox, they showed the camera from the side. You're the NFL. You have a gazillion dollars. You can't get a better camera right in front where the goal line is for a replay there? Come on. And then you can't overturn it because you don't have enough evidence. That's garbage. I mean, the freeze frame play shows that the foot was touching, the toes were touching the sideline with the ball not yet crossing the plane. The freeze frame that you saw by Fox on Twitter had the ball over the plane, but both feet were already on the line as well. What you wanted was the frame before that. Neither here or there. I still think the best team won tonight as far as Kansas City goes. And that's what I want to get to the most. I mean, San Francisco has the best defense in the National Football League this year. And what it boiled down to me, was the most exciting, best quarterback in the NFL coming through in the clutch. Patrick Mahomes was not that good for the first few quarters in this football game, but when it mattered, he was elite. When it mattered, he was clutch. And once Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy and Tyreek Hill and Patty Mahomes and the like figured it out, and they started to throw the football down the field, not these little run it outside and throw it quick 6 yards and see what happens, throw it out to the sidelines a little bit to try and open things up. They had to actually throw the ball down the field, and I thought they did a great job when they finally did it to find Tyreek Hill way down the field. Kansas City got the ball back, of course, scored again, and then another late pick. And Kansas City goes on to win it 31-20. I just think this is a tremendous, tremendous job by Kansas City in this game. The last 2 drives to me really told the story, with the Chiefs down 20-7, actually, I should say 20-10. The 2 drives that got it to 2017, and then ultimately, obviously, 24-20 before the late, kind of scrap touchdown. The 2 touchdowns that Kansas City scored back-to-back in order to take the lead, that was vintage Andy Reid, vintage offense, vintage what the NFL is, and vintage Patrick Mahomes. And the San Francisco defense, they got handed an absolute ass whooping on those drives. You can bitch and moan if you're a Niner fan all you want about the refs. You can bitch and moan about the OPI. You can bitch and moan about the fake in the first half. I thought a few of those calls were too early in the game to tell. It wasn't like they came in the last 2 to 5 minutes in the fourth quarter. Kansas City was the better team tonight. Patrick Mahomes was the better quarterback. Andy Reid was the better head coach. The coordinators and the like figured it out. And again, one thing that might not get talked about a lot is the Kansas City Chiefs defense, I thought, really brought it in terms of controlling enough of the run game so that it didn't get wildly out of control. I mean, think about it this way. If the Chiefs defense doesn't hold enough in the beginning in the first half, maybe San Francisco's up 23-10 or 27-10 deep into this game, and maybe that's enough for them in terms of being a defensive ball control-oriented team. Now, I know San Francisco was able to win games this year with high-powered octane offense and all the rest. Remember Jimmy Garoppolo and San Fran going into New Orleans and absolutely winning a shootout. But the reality is they played this game perfectly until late in the third quarter, and then all of a sudden, boom, 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 flipping of the switch by the Kansas City Chiefs and throwing the football down the field. Now, what does this win do in essence overall? Let's take the synopsis of what this really means and then move forward with this thing. Number one, Patrick Mahomes now has captured the face of the league in the NFL. He is absolutely the best quarterback, and he is absolutely the face of the league. I know a lot of people might be out there, oh, he's a prisoner of the moment, he's hyperbole, he's this, he's that. The flat-out reality of the situation is Patrick Mahomes tonight, he grew immensely. He took another level up tonight as the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm just making sure that my dog does not wake my kid up. And he's all right. And then when you take a look at the stats of Patty Mahomes with him, 24 years old, this guy 3 years into the league. Are you kidding me? This guy right now has a Super Bowl MVP. He has a Super Bowl championship. He has an NFL MVP with a 5,000-yard and 50 touchdown season. I mean, you've got to be kidding me with this guy with the numbers. In addition, Andy Reid has stamped his ticket to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, in my opinion. I mean, this guy, the only missing thing on the resume was winning a Super Bowl. And I know there's a lot of folks out there who say, well, you can't judge all of it by the Super Bowl. You can't judge all of it by the big moment. But in football, it's much different than baseball. In baseball, you can be Ernie Banks all day, and the player gets into the Hall of Fame. You can be Clyde Drexler, and you can get into the Hall of Fame all day long. Dominique Wilkins, all those guys. But in football, it's so crucial that when you get to the AFC title games a bunch, you get to the NFL Super Bowl a bunch of times, you got to crack it and you got to win. Marv Levy, head coach of the Buffalo Bills, leading them to 4 straight Super Bowls, he still got in because he did get to so many of them, and his overall was just enough. But I think Andy Reid, had he not won a Super Bowl, now, he could have gotten to a couple more, certainly. I'm not saying his coaching days were done after tonight, no matter if he'd won or lost. But let's say Andy Reid goes the entire way and doesn't make it back to a Super Bowl. It's very possible. I mean, sports are sports. Anything can happen. But tonight, he didn't let that happen. Andy Reid has punched his ticket to Canton, and now he's playing with house money. He's got Patrick Mahomes for several more years. We'll have to see how long he goes. But just a tremendous, tremendous victory for Andy Reid. And finally, just a quick note on the Kansas City Chiefs organization. We're talking about a perfect fit. Kansas City hasn't won in 50 years, going back to Super Bowl IV. You know the deal. The Hunt family, they are the owners of the Kansas City Chiefs, going back to Lamar Hunt. Lamar Hunt, part of the Foolish Club. Part of it was Sonny Werblin, Al Davis, Ralph Wilson Jr., and all the rest of them, creating the Foolish Club in the AFL group that challenged the NFL, which got us into this position where we have a Super Bowl between the AFC and the NFC. Before, of course, AFL, NFL, etc. Packers, Chiefs to start it off. We go to Super Bowl III. Joe Namath beats the Colts, etc., etc. Kansas City. This is a prototype NFL franchise, an original AFL team. Lamar Hunt created the name Super Bowl when his son was playing with the Super Ball, and now his son Clark Hunt receives a Lombardi Trophy tonight. Unbelievable. Great fan base. Incredible franchise. KC deserves it. Congrats to the players. Congrats to Mahomes, to Reid. KC, 50 years. Unbelievable. You deserve it. Whew. And now it's baseball season. Best part, right? Enjoy the games.